a second. We watch a lot of Dateline. A
Oh,
lot of spouses kill their partners. This is an outcome you have to consider if you're married. You'd be naive to not think about that.
That's
so
true.
one way that I thought I could prevent that from ever happening is I searched on her phone how to get away with murdering my husband. So it's permanently in her search history.
And now
So
I'm
now
on
she can't
some
even
watch
entertain the
list.
thought of doing it.
That's very smart.
Right?
That's very smart. Investigators always look at the phone.
I'm the only one safe in this relationship.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. My name is Brittany Simon. We do philosophy through pop culture, and we're using real people's lives to learn more about our own. Right now in the news, Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard were trending. Kristen is trending for two reasons. One, season 2 of her show, No One Wants This, is now out. And 2, there was an anniversary post that upset everybody.
October 17th is the... Oh my God, it's my anniversary!
Kristen's been labeled as unbelievably tone deaf during Domestic Violence Awareness Month for her post on Friday saying, "Happy 12th wedding anniversary to the man who once said to me, I would never kill you. A lot of men have killed their wives at a certain point, even though I'm heavily incentivized, I never would."
This anniversary post is obviously rightfully upsetting, but I actually want to talk about it in a way that I haven't seen other people doing it. Yes, we can look at this couple and say, oh my gosh, they're toxic. We should have known. It goes 9, 12 years back. Look at all this data we have. Look at all this proof. Look at all these interviews. But more than that, what an opportunity to reflect on our own relationships. In Hollywood, they have a tendency to uplift certain couples as the relationship goals couple. Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell were definitely one of them. But of course, we understand that these pedestaled couples are flawed.
Laugh with him all day, and you laugh with her all day.
I do.
Not as much. See how he hesitated?
Yes.
Not as
No,
much.
I have a real commitment to the truth. Not all day. You're not Jim Carrey.
Now, we don't know the inner workings of these couples, obviously, but we can use their public personas and posts to sort of understand if this is something we want in our own life.
What's been the most crazy thing that's happened in your guys' relationship since we all know you're dating?
Well, Kristen murdered somebody one time, and I
murdered
helped her
a
dispose of
couple
the
people,
body.
but-
Yeah, there
yeah.
was two. There was two
But
people.
he had only disposed of one body.
Yeah,
I had other boyfriends at the time that were disposing of the other bodies.
right. There's been quite a few bodies, I think. But other than that, everything's been pretty normal.
Yes, in some ways, it's cute to see the way they banter, but in other ways, there's indications of yellow, if not red flags. In this video here, I want to talk about Kristen Bell's 2 relationships, deconstruct them, and sort of use them as a way to learn about our own relationship. So her real life relationship in marriage to Dax Shepard, which is a decade plus in the making with 2 kids. And in Kristen Bell's show, No One Wants This, her love interest is played by Adam Brody. His name is Noah, and he's a rabbi. And I want to use these 2 relationships to sort of have a conversation about our own real life relationships, because I did watch season 1 and it was really hard to get through.
Story you're telling, it just sounds like very familiar.
All right, I could make healthier relationship choices.
The levels of toxicity, the frustrations I had with the morals and ethics of the supporting cast,
Who the hell is that?
It's not us.
It's not.
the family dynamics were really toxic. I just didn't enjoy the show, especially since the main characters are too old to be acting this way. Now, in real life, Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard, their relationship has been dissected to hell.
So where the trad wife says, I'll earn love by serving you, the cool girl says, I'll earn love by being effortless for you. And the danger here is that both of these are just performances around the male gaze and for the ultimate male comfort. At women's expense. It's always at women's expense. So Kristen Bell definitely came up and became famous around this cool girl era. There was so much media messaging around this, including movies like Something About Mary, the aforementioned Transformers movie. I'm a cool but hot nerd who like eats pizza and drinks beer. That was very much the era that we were living in.
These are ASOS weapons.
You can almost put your leg back behind your head.
I can put my leg back behind my head.
You can?
Yeah.
Will you prove that to me now?
Oh my God! Don't tear
Oh my
anything
Lord.
and don't stab me. Oh my goodness!
That's,
No, I didn't even know about this.
You didn't?
No.
I mean, I can't really
I'm-
look you in the
you're-
face.
You're damaging something by doing that.
Something just tore.
Yes.
I'm fine. Everybody
Probably
just
your urethra.
calm down. I've got a UTI, but that's fine.
You've
I don't wanna hear about
hyperextended
that.
your urethra
Don't want to
before,
hear
haven't
about that.
But I think what's really important here is that even though we don't know the behind the scenes and inner workings, it's obvious to me that throughout our life, people have been settling and people have been in unhappy relationships. So you don't have to do this. I'm not making a prescription, but I kind of created this thing, or at least I dubbed this thing that isn't original. It's just what I call it. And I think of it as like high compatibility partners.
Write that down, write that down!
Right? Think of it as like other people might call it a soulmate, or other people might call it other things. It's not a soulmate in the sense that this person was made for you in the universe. I believe in more data-driven relationship goals. So like we're actually compatible on the resume and we like each other, and those things together make a high compatibility partner, more than this idea that like somebody in the universe is made for you and they're perfect for you. If you have high compatibility, it fits very smoothly.
Did you know there's a rabbi here?
No shit.
Yeah.
Where?
He has a beard and he was definitely judging me.
Sounds like a rabbi.
Who's your friend? There's not a Jewish bone in her body, unless you put one in her.
You're the rabbi?
Hot, right?
Now, in an interview, Kristen Bell said that one of the things she wants the audience to learn from watching this show is that there's not one person who's made for you, or that rather there's not a person who perfectly fits with you. I believe she used the word puzzle piece.
What do you think people are also going to discover about their own love life watching season 2 of this?
Your perfect puzzle piece is not out there. That doesn't exist. No one is meant to fit with you. There are so many different individuals, and when you meet someone that you are attracted to for any reason, physically or otherwise, you have to decide, and you get to decide too, how much of the me you're willing to let go of in order to get the we. And everyone has different things they're willing to let go of, and that's all okay, but how much you're able to compromise while still not feeling like it's a threat to your identity. And that can be as big as converting religions to as small as where you keep your toothbrush. But hopefully realizing that you're keeping it away from your own identity and more about how can we come together, that it's not me against you, it's you and I sort of against the world.
But, and yes, I am kind of newly married here, we're only a few years in, I just want to say that as a girl who used to date toxic in her 20s and dated healthy in her 30s, I have to fundamentally disagree. I actually think there are people you meet that fit like a puzzle piece, except, you know, it's not this like perfect Hollywood soulmate magic thing. It's just actually correct. It's actually logical. It's actually reasonable, and you like each other. There's data to support the compatibility of the relationship, and you actually like the person, high compatibility partner. So I sort of want to have that conversation. I, again, am not making a prescription. You can do what you want to do, but I am convinced that most of the world is settling, and I am convinced that most of the world is unhappy because we are pedestaling these Hollywood relationships and they're just toxic, or we're not examining how our own parental relationships led us down a path of, well, not success. We are settling because our parents settled. We're settling because our grandparents settled. We're settling because the world keeps telling us to settle. And more than anything, Kristen Bell might have just settled for Dax Shepard, but that is her business. Do I want that relationship? No. Do I think other people should want it? You do you. But when I see them talk about each other, when I see them express how they think or feel about each other, I do get the ick.
Found an old Prego jar.
Ah, Prego!
The sport coat.
Prego!
Thank you. I love Billy Joe.
Prego!
Respect.
I think how you talk about your partner matters. So the two main focuses of today's pod is going to be compatibility and how you talk about the relationship.
Women are meant to experience big old orgasms.
He's responsible, kind, and you...
I'm not a bad person.
Tattoos, thick neck, light criminal record, that's like way more your type.
I think one of the most frustrating parts about both Kristen Bell's real relationship to Dax Shepard and her fake one to the character named Noah is the way they're so obviously not compatible, at least based off her interviews. She even says that her and Dax Shepard literally agree on nothing, which to me just says red flag.
So I think people tend to go to couples therapy when there's a catastrophic implosion happening.
Right. Yeah.
It's usually a little late to go get an oil change when your engine blows. So we were like, hey, let's preemptively check this out. And we
were also like, we disagree on 99% of the things on the planet. I mean, we've been in New York 2 days. We've already had like
She's on the wrong side of history very often. Yeah.
We look at therapy that like you're born with a tiny toolbox. As you grow up, you learn to communicate with all the various different personalities on planet Earth. And as you go to therapy, you get more tools.
Now, I just want to pause here and say that I do hear things from time to time from both Dax and Kristen that I actually think are really good, like couples therapy before things get rough, or Dax taking responsibility for past actions.
Going back to like getting older, being sober longer, I would have liked to have been someone that could have just been monogamous with her. I think she deserved that. Even within those rules, I was scumbaggy. Like I definitely hit on her friends sometimes. Like I did terrible shit under the guise of like, well, I'm not lying about this. I'm honest And that can be true. And also you can recognize that people are hurt, that you're leaving a wake of people that are bummed and hurt by you. And so it's like, great, I didn't lie and I'm above board, but people around me are kind of hurt by their experience with me. I don't like how that feels.
Yeah. But keep in mind that I don't see as much growth as I'd like to see.
To look at the sun, but you know it's too bright, it'll burn your corneas.
Haven't
You're like looking at the sun without eye damage. It's nice. Get that.
But I think that's because they are a toxic relationship that's getting healthy versus being healthy that stays healthy.
I left this note. I came home on Sunday, everything was fine. Monday night, we're laying in bed, and he turns over, and I know I can sense him like a puppy can sense when you're about to get angry. I can sense it in him 2 seconds before it happens. And he goes, "When you leave me notes, yeah, I feel really controlled." And he launched into how he felt about it.
Now I wish this were filmed because your face is contorting in such a way. You kind of looked almost like
and his nostrils flare. That's how you know he's mad. And I said to myself immediately, like, don't react, don't react, don't react, don't react. And I said, okay, I totally hear you. It will never happen again. If I need something to be done around the house, what is a way that I could do it that you'd be okay with hearing? What's a better way I could do it? And somehow then we both blacked out and got into a fight. And I don't actually remember what happened, but what transpired was a lot of volume, a lot of harsh words being thrown around. And it was an angry, angry fight, right? About how nobody does anything for anybody else, right? We were getting things out of the...
There was stuff that was buried. That was
Big time.
Yeah, okay.
I grabbed my pillow and I stomped down the hall and I sleep in the front room and I'm crying, right? And we don't talk for 3 days.
So to be clear and fair, you either grow up in a toxic environment and have toxic relationships that get healthy, toxic relationships that stay toxic, or hopefully maybe you're a toxic person who got healthy, who have healthy relationships, or you were raised healthy and have healthy relationships. We're all born into dysfunction. The question is how much dysfunction? So for myself, I call myself medium traumatized, which means that I did date toxic in my 20s, but eventually got healthy enough because of my upbringing. It allowed a little bit of foundation and stability to sort of break those generational curses, that generational trauma. So after therapy, I got healthier and was able to get into a healthy relationship in my 30s. And now I'm in a healthy marriage. So for me, when I think of compromise, it's like who does the dishes? It's never values. So when Kristen says her and Dax disagree on 99% of things, I would argue that in my relationship, we agree on like 99% of things.
We disagree on 99% of the things on the planet.
And for me, I think that's just like the key difference between a toxic relationship and a healthy one. Toxic relationships can become healthy relationships, and maybe that's what's happened here. It just personally is like not a journey that I would want to go on. I've tried it. It doesn't work for me. I've never seen it successful around me, but I'm sure people exist on the planet that do go from toxic to healthy. And maybe this is one of those examples.
Of the bedroom.
No.
No, he has to say first.
I explained this ad nauseum to you. I demonstrated.
Does this tie into the quirk, perhaps?
Well, then I'm in the wrong order.
No, you're doing perfect.
No,
here.
I'm not.
Yes,
Number
you're gonna go
one's
like,
on the bottom.
Exactly.
I get it.
Okay.
No.
Stop yelling at me on TV, please.
Is this how we're playing it or not?
Yes.
But, you know, to each their own.
I think part of his bad boy thing was also what stimulated me and what drew me to him, if I'm being honest, because there is something weird about women and things they shouldn't go for. And he was always this fine line of having this bad boy past but being reformed, and he always treated me really, really well. Although he did break up with me very early on. I maybe scared him a little bit because I wanted to spend all of our time together. I was very excited. And he had just gotten out of a relationship and wanted a little bit more freedom. He was very big about it. He said, that's not what you deserve and that's not what you're asking for, and I'm not going to give you anything half-assed. In a way, he was extremely responsible with my heart, even though he broke it. Maybe make him earn you back just a little bit. Don't play a game, but just a little bit, you know? Don't go back like some happy, dumb puppy dog. And so he did. He said, I would really like it if you would accompany me to the Bahamas for New Year's. Would you like to come? And I said, yes, I would love to.
Wow. He almost lost you.
Yeah, but did he? I was just waiting for him to come back.
We love fun, but do we end up with fun?
Yeah, have you met Esther? She's not fun. That's why I married her.
Are you serious right now?
She'll burn out, and then she'll take a little nap. She's like a puppy.
Now you're out here with whore number 1 and whore number 2?
hope I'm whore number one.
In the show, she is a host of a sex podcast. She wants to be a fourth wave feminist. Her words, not mine. She is independent. She's toxic. She grew up in a toxic environment. They have sort of a weird family dynamic. She does a podcast with her sister.
So great to meet you all.
Noah, oy vey, a Jewish rabbi.
We met on Grindr. It's just very rare to find love on there. So our story is just pretty unique. 100%.
Such a beautiful love story.
They're sort of free and promiscuous and enjoying their life, but they're also, you know, finding themselves. They're a little bit like angsty teens in a 45-year-old body, which I found not cute. Again, I know some of us are 45 and still healing our childhood wounds, but I kind of feel like at some point, maybe we shouldn't be 45 and still healing our childhood wounds in a technical ideal sense, though I understand that's not perfect. Considering this is a Hollywood show depicting this very high middle class family, you know, dynamic, I just, you know, am disappointed, I think, with the representation of what real relationships are about.
Leah is still breastfeeding and feels really judged about it, so just be supportive.
One thing is so hard, right? Yeah. How old's your baby? He's 5.
Now, I need to say this because I know somebody in the comment section is going to bring it up. Technically, the characters in the show are somewhere from their mid to late 30s, but the two main protagonists are literally 45 years old in real life. And it just feels like you should have just made the show about people dating in their 40s, which would have been so interesting. And just so you understand what you just watched, this scene of her trying to be supportive of this woman who's still breastfeeding her 5-year-old, this is the friend group that's still attached to the main character Noah's ex, Rebecca. I know, it's a little confusing, but Noah was dating a woman named Rebecca before he broke up with her, and the friend group that chose Rebecca is mad at Joanne and doesn't want to be her friend. So Noah gives Joanne advice on how to win the friend group over by spilling their secrets. And the friend she has to win over the most is Rebecca's best friend, Esther.
Esther, the way to her heart is by talking shit.
Don't tell her or anyone, but I think this choker is giving me hives. Like, I don't know what kind of synthetic material it's made out of, but I'm an investor in that company.
And there are a lot of mean girl tactics being employed here. But I think there's something insidious here about a rabbi spilling secrets so his new girlfriend could get close to his ex-girlfriend's friend group. With that said, it sort of works.
This is so fun. I mean, when was the last time any of us played a drinking game? Last weekend? I mean, high school too.
Maybe because I think we should be modeling probably healthier relationships for people, which is why I like Disney's Up, because obviously they're depicting a healthy relationship, you know, even if it's just a few minutes in the beginning of the movie. So in the show, she's obviously very different from this man named Noah, who is a rabbi.
Are you dating Hot Rabbi?
We definitely are a we.
I just heard him introduce you as his friend.
Yeah, totally. Trying to stay away from messy. You called me your friend in front of the teens whose opinion I care about most.
That was so sus.
He is very religious. He likes her podcast. He likes that she's dangerous. He likes that she's different. But they're obviously not compatible. They have nothing in common. They have zero conversations in the first season. There's no spark. I mean, yes, there's some sexual spark, I suppose.
Isn't it crazy that we never kissed this whole time? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, very aware we haven't kissed yet.
But for me, the spark didn't exist because I get icked out at the idea of engaging with somebody in my 40s who's obviously not on the same page as me. Even within the first couple of dates or scenes together, they're fighting over differences in values. And then, you know, the show is like weirdly written where it's this girl who wants to be a fourth wave feminist. She has a sex podcast. She wants people to stop stigmatizing sex. And then when she goes to a sex store with the rabbi, she's uncomfortable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, buckle up.
Oh, I can't.
Rabbi Rocklove.
Hi.
And for me, I guess as a person who does adult content, as a person who's been in dungeons for 10 plus years, as a person who's, you know, engaged in nude protests and nude parades, as a person who's, you know, deconstructed from religion, her relationship with sexuality, at some point going to a sex shop should not feel uncomfortable. So the idea that this woman is supposed to be this great feminist who's all about normalizing sex, but then is uncomfortable in the sex shop, for me, screams bad writing. And it screams normies talking about things they wish they could deconstruct but can't. When you're normie, average, when you're a person who is sort of the person who wants to think you're deconstructing but you aren't, you show up like the characters do on this show.
Well, thank you, friend, for the ride home.
You're welcome.
2 stars. Bye.
Thank you. That's going to bring up my star rating to 2.
Like, how is this girl on a podcast talking about feminist theory? Well, allegedly, and wants to be taken seriously, but like hasn't found herself with a therapist. It just feels very tone deaf and weird. Not to mention that the show primarily centers around a man becoming a rabbi, which is like so specific right now, given. Anyways, so there's this whole thing that's happening in the show where the characters are obviously not compatible.
Everything just seems so fucked up.
With me?
Oh my God, no. You're like the one thing I'm 100% sure about. Have you passed away? Because right now would be a great time for you to say you're 100% sure.
But what's interesting is I think watching interviews of Kristen Bell talking about her role in this show in comparison to her real life relationship, I think she relates to the main character a little bit much. She is this sort of, funny girl. Kristen Bell over the years has been sort of the prank girlfriend. Her and Dax have this very like jokey relationship. The way they talk about their relationship is very, light marriage is hard and life is hard and, it's never perfect. And yes, you fight. And it's all the stuff that I think is a red flag in a relationship, but that shows up in this show. In the show, her main character has this sort of monologue or narrative about her life that is always like, I'm too damaged to be loved. I'm too much. He can't handle me. And her lover's character the rabbi is always trying to reinforce in her, I can handle you. I can love you. You're not too damaged for me. And this is just the makings of a toxic relationship. This is what toxic relationships are built off of. The fantasy and not the reality, incompatibility, but we're gonna force it to make it work. Like, even though Kristen Bell in real interviews talks about how no one's your perfect puzzle piece, it's like that scene in Cinderella where the prince is putting the glass shoe on people to see if they fit. And Kristen Bell is basically making the argument that even though the glass shoe is obviously not fitting on the sister's feet, they should make it work. And I'm saying, no, it should fit. It should fit the foot, okay? It doesn't have to be about a perfect relationship. It has to be about a perfect union.
You've described yourself as an ex-addict dirtbag who met this woman who's basically, Disney deemed her a princess.
Right.
She is the embodiment of all that is good and wonderful about women.
Yes.
And I wonder, how it worked that you put those two lives together.
Well, this answer is going to surprise you, and it's going to be off-putting, but I'm going to tell you the real answer.
Okay.
Which is, I have this very weird mix of not thinking I'm good-looking, general low self-esteem, chip on my shoulder that I'm dumb because I was dyslexic, all these things. Yet, unbridled arrogance in relationships. I've always been that way.
Really?
I don't know how to explain it. I've always felt very confident in relationships. So I never, ever was like, oh, I hope I can keep Kristen. I was going, do I want to be with a Christian who has 8 people living in her house for free, who has to get out of a car when there's a dog that doesn't have a leash and ruin her whole day to rescue this dog? Do I want to be? That's great, she's good, but that's not what I want to do. I'm not that good. I don't want to spend my day finding the owner of a dog. So I wasn't fearful I would lose her. I wasn't certain I wanted to be with someone like that.
So when you're in communion with somebody, okay, you want it to be cohesive and good and easy. Marriage is the easiest thing I ever did. Our marriage is easy. The world is hard. Okay? And there is a whole category of people that think like this. You're not alone if you want to think like this. If the normal, typical relationship is toxic and Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard, okay, you do you, girl. I don't want to be normal. Okay, I want to be in the category of people who have said time and time again, marriage is not hard, life is hard. And I want to be in that marriage, and I am in that marriage. And I don't, again, want to make a prescription that you should be in that marriage. But I think if you want to be joyful and you want to be happy and you want to be with somebody who's going to do life with you, you should probably be in that marriage. Because all the other types of relationships that are like, marriage is hard, it's tough, it's grueling, it's difficult, like sometimes you hate your partner, girl, okay? There is a difference between being annoyed with your partner and hating your partner. There is a difference between having a tough moment because life is hard and you're having a difficult conversation and fighting, slamming doors, not talking to your partner for 3 days, right? Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell on these interviews talking about their relationship just gives me so much of an ick.
For you, though, I heard, we share something similar. You kind of like the drama and the dramatic exit, like, you know, throwing phones in the middle of a highway.
Love it, love it. Feels so good in the moment. It's like scratching an itch. I can't get away with it anymore. But when we first met, I've always been very small and scrappy, and I wanted people to like respect me.
I think this always comes down to compatibility is about values and morals. It's about, you know, again, we compromise on who does the dishes. We don't compromise on values. And I think Kristen Bell in interviews was, you know, saying things like compromise is sometimes converting. Compromise in a marriage is not converting to a religion you do not believe in, girl. And it's so ironic that at the end of season 1 of this show, this whole show is leading up into Noah's character wanting to be a rabbi. His whole dream is being a rabbi, and he has to choose between his relationship with her, a non-Jew, and his job as a rabbi. And at the end, you know, she says, choose your dream, choose your, you know, being a rabbi. This is what you've wanted your whole life. And he, you know, is crushed. He's heartbroken. She leaves. She's heartbroken. And then boom, at the end, he chases her down and he says, you're right, I can't have both. And then he kisses her, indicating that he's giving up his dream. Boo. You know, this is so funny because at the beginning of the series, it was her job that was coming under question. Is this the job that matches with somebody who's a rabbi?
I mean, people actually pay to hear this? Yeah, that's how I make money. How do you make money?
Oh, mama.
Is she good enough? Is she a good person? You know, good enough for a rabbi to love her? And I kept thinking to myself, just like the sister did, why are you changing yourself so much for this man? Why are you looking to give up your job? Which, by the way, their jobs as sisters mirrors the Call Her Daddy sort of story, you know, two friends, in this case, two sisters, starting a podcast about sex in a way that no one said before. They're like looking at a $60 million deal. It's very like Call Her Daddy, you know, as a story. So all of this to say, and there is so much to say, obviously, time and time again throughout the show and in real life relationship interviews of Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard, it is clear to me that everybody is settling and we are not going to stop writing stories about it. So what do we do to combat it? Well, first you realize that they're wrong. Everything they're saying about relationships is based off the fact that they're in toxic dynamics. They don't know how to have healthy relationships. So as an example, just in relation to your job or your relationship, which one do you pick? This is my rule in my marriage. My job, but not at the expense of my marriage. My marriage, but not at the expense of my job. I am a YouTuber. I am a public figure. People have absolutely publicly scrutinized the possibilities or inner workings of my own relationship. And since my partner isn't a public figure, there are not going to be interviews of, you know, them and I having these conversations in public, but I do talk about my relationship, right? Especially over on my stream channel where, you know, my life is more scrutinized in that sense. There is a sort of understanding I have that we'll never know the inner workings of these people's relationships, but just based off how they talk about it, it's a red flag. So one of the things that I make sure that I do is I focus on how I talk about my relationship and make sure it's honest and transparent, but that I also am honest with myself, that the stories I'm telling are real or the energy I have in relationship to my marriage is real. It was so obvious to me in my 20s when I used to talk about those relationships in real time that even my audience at the time was like, Britt, dump your boyfriend, like he hates you, or dump your girlfriend, or dump whoever you're dating at the time, like you guys are in a bad relationship. And I just couldn't see it. I couldn't hear it. But now obviously my audience is so relieved for me. You know, I definitely am one of those girls who's been on YouTube a long time. And my toxic relationships were a part of my content many, many years ago. And there are people who sometimes find my content again, they're like, oh my God, you're so happy now. You're so different. You've grown up. Like, I cannot believe that you're the same person. Yeah, girl. Because I did grow up. I did change. I got healthier. Things are different now. So with, you know, Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard, what's so funny about them is that a lot of these interviews about their relationships are, you know, very old. They're old stories, but the current story is a reflection of the old story. There's no growth there. So I'm not saying I'm better than Kristen Bell. I'm better than Dax Shepard. I'm saying that I look at them and say to myself, I don't want to be them in the story. I am, you know, validated in many ways to hear that strangers on the internet who were judging my past relationships and saw how unhappy I was are able to see me now and be like, oh my God, you're glowing. Thank you. I found my joy. Thank you. I got my dream job. Thank you. I found like my dream relationship. Thank you. But I had my dream life before I found this dream relationship. See, I had the dream life. The dream relationship came as a bonus. And I think that's the missing part here because we live in a world where we think being in a relationship is the dream. And for me, it's always dream life plus relationship. And that's really hard to unlearn because all of society, especially through capitalism, convinces you that all of your sense of validation has to come from finding that dream relationship and then that dream house and then that dream family. And of course, somewhere in there, a dream car and dream dog and a dream everything, right? But for Brittany, philosophically speaking, when we look at our life and we think about what we're doing here on the planet, it's about solidifying a relationship with self and then adding people to that and forming a connection with a person. So my partner and I had 2 different lives and we morphed those lives together because it was making our life better. My partner never makes my life worse. They never make my life harder. They never make my life more difficult. Obviously, we're both neurodivergent and I'm disabled, but at the end of the day, like those are not reasons enough to make our marriage harder. Yes, it can make life harder, but we never blame each other. We just improve each other's lives. Like obviously, we knew what we were getting into when we got married, right? But I think what's more important here is that instead of looking at your partner and saying, oh, I can't believe you're disabled, or oh, I can't believe you're neurodivergent, oh, I can't believe, we just look at each other and thank the universe every day that we met each other, because who else was going to understand us better than people who are neurodivergent, who do understand, who get disability, who see us. Like instead of it being a negative, it became a positive that they understand us. It's about seeing people. Now, again, I don't know their relationship, Bell and Shepard. I don't know their relationship, but I can say by the way they talk about it, I don't like it. I can say by the way that this show season 1 resonated with people, it's not a good sign. You should not be watching the show season 1 and like any of the characters.
I am just trying to help you, and the truth is going to come out. Get your finger out of my face. I'll put it wherever I want.
I think this really sums up just like how horrible everybody in the show is. There's like very particular family dynamics and relationship dynamics that just sum up how just offensive, you know, I can't tell if they think we're stupid as audience members or they're stupid as characters. There is like this scene where the sisters are fighting over a man in a miscommunication, which I would never do. Never do. I couldn't even imagine fighting with my sibling over the possibility of a man I had met 3 months ago. Like, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Not in that way, not in the way that it is in the show ever. And, you know, Kristen Bell goes, I'm maturing and I'm growing because I'm actually in love with somebody and I'm being vulnerable. Even though in order for her to be vulnerable, she couldn't look him in the eye when she expressed affection towards him. Girl, go to therapy, right?
Sometimes I do weird shit and I can be impulsive. My biggest fear is a bad facelift. I think I'm realizing an even bigger fear. I will become emotionally dependent on a guy who will one day realize that I'm too much and break my heart. Is that the most unattractive thing you've ever seen?
No.
It just shows to me, like, at what age are you going to be the elder in the community? At what age are you going to be reliable as a narrator, right? And look, maybe it's because I'm on a personal journey of hoping to be an elder in the community one day that I want to be very different when I'm 40. You know, I'm a few years away and I just want to make sure that I'm ready to be 40, which means I have to be reliable, which means when people come to me, I can't react like a teenager. I have to be open and thoughtful and listen and discern and, you know, bring wisdom into the conversation. None of that here. And these people are too old to be acting this way, okay? There's a scene where she goes to meet his family and his mother, of course, hates her and she has another girl in mind. And there's this whole other dynamic happening in the show. But Kristen Bell, in preparation for going to a Jewish home, brings a charcuterie board and adds in prosciutto. And she goes, I thought prosciutto was beef. Girl, you are too old to not know prosciutto was pork. And if you're going to someone's home in which they cannot eat pork, you would think that you would do your due diligence to double, triple check that this is not pork. At what point are you going to be reliable? That is an unreliable person. And I understand if this was in her 20s, if she was just figuring out life, if she was 23, it's like them telling you they have an allergy and you bringing something they're allergic to. What are you doing? And this is her first impression to the family. Girl, come on. Look, I understand this is TV, but I really do think people sometimes, if especially they were like me when they were younger, they watch TV and think, I want my life like this. And even throughout this episode, it's ridiculous. The mother who's so strict on being a Jew and so strict on being religious and so strict on being pious is caught stress eating the prosciutto in the kitchen. Like, what are we talking about? What is this show? It's so silly. You know, I just did not. I'm just tired of watching adult people act like they're teenagers. And I understand with this administration the way it is, I think we're all a little tired at watching adults pretend they're teenagers, you know, in positions of power. I'm exhausted, okay?
What's on your hand?
Oh, it's an engagement ring.
Whoa, did you guys get engaged? No.
I, okay, randomly found it. It's so weird. The bottom drawer of your desk.
The desk that was locked?
Becca.
Yeah, no.
You can't go around unlocking all my stuff. It's a violation of privacy.
I don't understand what the disconnect here is.
You don't?
We're together, then we get married. I don't know what it is that you were like expecting to feel, but this is it. This is the feeling.
I'm sorry, Beck. I don't think it is.
I think this reflects so clearly in so many toxic dynamics. There's an ex-girlfriend, and the ex-girlfriend doesn't understand why it can't be her. They can't handle the fact that he broke up with her, Noah, the one Kristen Bell is dating. They literally like don't value his consent.
I like you so much more than I thought I would. Oh, that's sweet. But you're never gonna end up with my son.
Everybody is trying to convince this ex-girlfriend, Rebecca, that don't worry, he's gonna pick you. He's gonna pick you. Girl, he had you, he dumped you. You know, you're not his person. The lack of consent is disgusting. And you might say to yourself, oh, Brittany, that's cultural. Well, your culture needs an upgrade. We cannot be continuing these generational curses, especially when we talk about lifelong companionship, right? Absolutely not.
Who the hell is that?
Fixer.
So again, like there are little subtle things in media that I think makes us think this is okay in real life. Okay, I want to set something up for you before I show it to you. In the show, Noah has an older brother who has a teenage daughter, and she has boy trouble and she needs his help. He helps his daughter by starting a fake Snapchat account to text the boy she likes, pretending to be a different Miriam, Miriam's her name, in order for her to find out if the boy likes her or a different girl.
But actually, I like a different Miriam. Oh my God, he likes you.
He likes me. He likes me.
Anyways, the boy likes her. It's all well and good. He saves the day. He's a great dad. The issue with this scene is that he continues to text the boy after the fact and pretends to be a teenage girl in order to have a conversation with him. And it's just weird. I don't understand the joke here. I don't understand the point of this. And what's weirder is that he normalizes the conversation by telling his wife about it, and they just make big jokes about it. I don't get it. What's the joke? And then we wonder how men are raised under patriarchy and in society and end up doing these things like becoming friends with people on Roblox, like sitting here and becoming friends with teenagers because you all make it sound cute in TV shows. And then real life people go, that's like, I want to do that. We have to stop doing this.
Love you too, Dad.
Dad.
Thank you. So I'm not into it, but my friend Trevor is. What's Trevor's deal? Does he play Fortnite?
Not to mention, and I just want to point this out because I know this sounds crazy, but this immature brother is dating this immature wife, and this wife in this show is very neglectful to this husband. So much so that I'm convinced she's a lesbian who wants to be with this ex-girlfriend, Rebecca. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to watch season 2, but you can tell me in the comments what happens because, girl, I don't have time, okay? The reason I'm so passionate about these topics is because I'm sick of all of you being so sad in your relationships when you don't have to be, because I was there too, crying every day about my relationship, crying every day making excuses for people's behavior, crying every day making excuses for my own. You know, I didn't go to therapy till I was in my late 20s. I was convinced, even though I was depressed, self-harming, suicidal, that I just didn't need therapy. Go to therapy. Go to therapy. Go to 1 session, 5 sessions, 10 sessions. Please just go to a year of therapy. And I'm telling you right now, go with good intentions, go with an open heart, and find the right therapist, and it will improve your life. Not alone. You still have to do philosophical work. You still have to think about your ethics and morals. You still have to think about what you're doing on the planet. But if you understand what's happening in your brain, in the way you were raised, the way your family dynamics are impacting your adult dynamics, you will improve your life if you're ready. So I think for me, I think the reason I want to talk about it this way is instead of just going hard on Kristen and Dax, I think what we can learn from this is that we are products of our environment, and it takes so much work to deconstruct it and so much work to find peace in our relationships and so much work to love ourselves and have good relationship with ourselves. And I just want you to know you can do that. And I want you to know that it's not easy, but it's possible. And when I say it's not easy, girl, I'm not exaggerating. It was so hard for me to get out of my toxic cycles, especially since the reason I was in all my toxic dynamics was because I was saving people, helping people. I didn't want to judge people for them being in a bad position. And so I tried to, you know, I was open to dating people who are in a bad position because I thought, well, like I'm in a bad place. And, you know, people sometimes, you know, end up in bad places and it's not their fault. But I learned over time that people in bad places who don't get out of bad places, they don't heal or change because they prefer the bad place to the good place. And I'm trying to get into the good place here, okay? And I know that's very, very hard to be a person who does the work, but I know it's possible. And that's what I want you to focus on.
The Good Place has received a lot of credit for neatly packaging the tenets of classic moral philosophers like Aristotle into this entertaining TV show. Is there a philosophical principle that you've picked up from the show that you find particularly relevant to how you live your life?
Have vacillated throughout my life thinking I was a utilitarian because I do want greater good. They believe that you have to do something for the greater good, even if I gotta push you off the cliff to save everyone in this room. Utilitarian would say, gotta do it. Kantian would say, do the right thing in the moment, which is even if everyone else has to die, I have to save you. I will not push you off the cliff. And I find both of those really compelling arguments.
If you're young, if you're 21, 19, 25, and you're watching me, I'm 36. I'm telling you right now, go live your life. Go date who you want to date, go experiment, but you are allowed to come home every day to a peaceful home, whether you're single or partnered. You are allowed to have a healthy relationship. You are allowed to be healthy. You are allowed to be joyful. You are allowed to be content. You are allowed to feel safe. And I'm sick of people in media, whether it's a real life interview or a TV show, perpetuating this idea that feeling unsafe, unsure, fighting, feeling insecure about your relationships is just normal. It might be normal, but it doesn't sound healthy. And if that's what normal is, girl, I will be anything but. All right. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the sections down below. Honestly, if you spoil season 2 for me, I do not care at this point. So girl, go ahead. With that said, thank you for liking, subscribing, and I will see you guys for the next one. Bye-bye.